we're getting started for today's Mobrium webinar. Feel free to put in chat where you're calling in from. It's always nice to just get a little acquainted with everyone. You can put your name or city or company or title or whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. It's not like anything official, just to kind of say hi to everybody. Typically I'm in Logan, Utah, but today I'm in Flaming Gorge in Manila. If anybody knows where that is, it's kind of like Lake Powell, but up north with pine trees instead of desert. But Afi, Salt Lake, way to go. That's right in the heart of everything in the Mountain West, which is great. Yeah, very excited for today's conversation. In fact, I've really been looking forward to this one. I'm going to have to embarrass Afi a little bit because we worked together for quite a long time, and she really motivated me and inspired me to do the best I could. And I learned a lot from her and from her expertise and friendship and positive energy. She's just an all-around amazing person, an HR expert. She's done all sorts of business things and has a wealth of expertise to share with us. So really excited to hear from her today. And just as kind of a housekeeping item, this Mobrium webinar series happens every month, the second Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And it's SHRM PDC approved. So you will get a follow-up email by Friday at the latest that has a link to the recording and the activity code to claim your SHRM certification activity credits. So you'll get that as a follow-up. And then just kind of jumping into the topic for today, Afi, she is working at AAPC. She's a human resource business partner, and I will let her share just a little bit about her background. And let me change the controls over here so Afi can share her screen, and we'll jump into the topic for today. And
awesome.
We will get started.
All right. Can you guys, first of all, can you all hear me?
Yep, sounding great.
Yes, thumbs up, maybe. Just put it in the chat. I don't know if you guys want to go on video or not, but I'm so thrilled to be here today. As Matt mentioned, me and Matt used to work together, and I just think the world of him. And I'll be 100% frank, I am... this is the first time I've ever done a webinar, and I'm super excited. I've done a lot of training in-house for leaders. I just haven't really done webinars per se. So I'm excited. I'm very much of a communicative presenter. So I would love to get you guys' thoughts as we go through this. I don't want to be the only one talking because it just kind of makes it more engaging and more fun. So what I'm hoping to talk about today, so a little bit about me. I have, not to give out my age, but I'm going to do it. I hope you all like my teddy bear in the background. I kind of figured it's more my personality than what I had before. I have been in the human resources field in various roles for the last 20 plus years. And I currently work at AAPC, and before that worked with Matt. I love where I work, and so I have a lot of experience. And one of my pet peeves in the HR world is when I have an employee that I could have prevented, not necessarily myself, but the leadership could have prevented from them leaving. So I kind of wanted to share a little bit of my thoughts on that. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. Let's see here, share screen. I'm going to go here. Let's see. Let me know if you can see my screen. Did I do it?
It's up.
It's up. I did it, you guys. Thank you. Well, maybe I went a little bit too ahead. Okay. So quiet quitting is a theme of today's topic. And none of what I'm going to tell you should come as a surprise to anyone. I think a lot of us know this, but it's always a good reminder. I had an excellent VP of HR one time tell me that if I get one thing out of seminars or, training sessions, that one thing is worth going into it. So hopefully for the next half hour, 45 minutes, you will get one thing that will just resonate with you and you're not going to let it go. So, I want you guys to think about this, okay? I wish I could see your faces so I could interact with you. So if you don't feel comfortable, that's okay too, because I'm looking at this is my view. So, but anyways, I want you to maybe think about this. I want you to write this down. I want you to think of, I'm going to try and move my screen. Oh, it just keeps going back and forth. Sorry. I want you guys to think about your team. Can I actually really quickly ask Jacqueline, Kristen, Lisa, and Angelique, I hope I'm saying that right, what your roles are, if I may ask, if you could put it in the chat.
Yeah, chat, unmute, whatever you prefer. I've done team leadership, so managing a team, definitely an important piece.
Awesome. Jacqueline, perfect. HR payroll administrator, beautiful. How about Lisa and Kristen? Okay. And maybe they don't want to share. Maybe it's totally okay. So as we go through this, I want you, maybe if you don't have, if you're not reporting, if you don't have a big team reporting to you, maybe just think of your reporting structure, maybe think about your team dynamics as a whole. And I want you to think about somebody who is always doing a great job, has done a fantastic job in the past, but all of a sudden you just kind of notice that they're doing the job, nothing's wrong, but something has switched. Okay, I want you to think about someone who comes to mind, like, oh my goodness, I could always count on them. They're still doing it, but there's just a shift of energy. Okay. That's kind of what we're going to talk about. Not necessarily that they're underperforming, not necessarily that they're just not fully engaged. It's just when you start figuring out and seeing that there's a shifted energy. Okay. So think about that person. And as we go through this, think about scenarios of how you could deal with that person. Okay. I want you guys to tell me, maybe just put it in the chat, which of these is the biggest sign of disengagement? Is it performance drops? Is it they stop volunteering? Is it they stop communicating? Or is it their attitude? It just changes. What do you guys think it is? Any thoughts? Okay. Beautiful.
Seeing some C's. You stop communicating. Oh, and Lisa mentioned she's in HR technology.
Very nice.
That's a good space.
Yeah, that's a very good space. Okay. Beautiful. All right. Well, we're going to come back to this. So think about your answer. We're going to come back to this. I want to share a story with you guys. Okay. Stories always resonate with me. They're just the way for me to remember so many things in life. So let's think of Emily. Okay. Emily's been with the company for 3 years. She was dependable, knowledgeable, and consistently delivered quality work. Okay. But her manager, Carlos, notices she has become quieter. She started having mysterious camera issues where she couldn't show her face. I just had to throw this one in there because it happens. Guys, I work in a remote environment. And even though we're remote, the leadership vision is we want everybody on camera when there's a meeting. That's just our way of making sure they're engaged. And we have people that, all of a sudden they're like, oh, I'm having my camera is not working. My this isn't working. So just kind of keep that in mind. Okay. She no longer joins conversations before the meeting. So they don't, log right in at 11 o'clock and start talking about the weather. They just kind of wait a minute or two, knowing that, okay, now it's time to just get to business. And they skip optional lunches. They don't really want to talk about brainstorming. So what are some of the warning signs that you see in Emily out of that list that you saw? Just think about that for a minute, okay? The
Angela
manager
mentioned, she said, Emily is me at the last job. I think we can all probably relate to this a little bit in ourselves to some extent if we don't find ourselves in, the environment that fits us. Sorry, just from the comments there.
No, I love that. I love that. I mean, how many of you have been there? You can raise your hand virtually. Yeah, me too. Me too. Exactly. I've been there, and it hurts my heart to know that there's others out there right now that we can prevent. So Carlos, being an amazing manager that Carlos is, he's going to sit her down and he's going to talk to her. Okay. And we're going to go through what he does and what we recommend that you guys do. And she comes out and says, honestly, I feel like I'm on the outside. I feel like decisions are made prior to even the meeting taking place. I feel like the meetings are just for show to kind of say, hey, we were there, you guys all decided together, but really the decision was already made. Okay. So what Carlos did really good is he didn't just dismiss her experience. Okay. He treated this as a leadership issue, not a personality issue. Because sometimes people say, oh, well, that person was so outspoken anyway, so I'm kind of glad that they don't speak up anymore. Right. So he didn't treat it as, oh, it's just her. I'm kind of glad that she actually got quiet. Okay. Because sometimes the one that, and we're going to get back to this statement, the one that the squeaky wheel gets the oil. You guys are always heard that. And I'm going to get back to this comment in a little bit later scenario. But he pretty much validated the concern. He changed the team routine. He created connection. He gave visible ownership. So he kind of changed things. But the main thing is he actually listened to her. Okay. If you guys have any questions or any comments, feel free to raise your hand, ask the question. The result was that Emily got engaged again, which is exactly what we want. Okay. I want to distinguish, there's a little bit of a difference between managers in HR labeling healthy boundaries as disengagement. I think this is kind of, I've seen it. Sometimes managers have such a big initiative put on them that they put that initiative back down to their team. And they think that if you're not willing to work 52 hours a week on a continual basis, you're now disengaged. They may think that, if you, want to actually take PTO, that you're disengaged. I work in a company that is flexible. I hate to say unlimited PTO because there is no such thing as unlimited PTO, but there's people that actually take their PTO, and that doesn't mean that they are not engaged. It just means they have found their boundaries where they're going to say, no, I'm on PTO. I'm not going to respond. Right. So saying no to extra work, not answering emails at 10 p.m. You guys have all seen movies of bosses that, email teams at 2 a.m. and they expect an immediate response. Okay. So let me just take a step back. It's a little bit of a different topic, but I just want to make sure that if somebody you're used to this person being available 24/7 and all of a sudden they're like, maybe I'm not going to be, let's not go ahead and fire the whole team because they're not doing, they're not working extra hours. They're not doing this. So let's just distinguish the difference there. Okay. So I want a quiz here. I want you guys to look at scenario 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to go through it. I want you to tell me, is it quitting? Is it creating legitimate boundaries, or is this something we need to investigate? Okay. Ready, guys? Are you all excited for this quiz?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pretend like you're all, yay. Okay. Scenario 1, John used to answer emails at 7 p.m. Now he doesn't respond until the next morning. Which one of these do you think it is? Is he quietly quitting? Is he just creating more boundaries for himself? Or is this something we need to investigate? What's the team's answer?
Seeing some boundary answers. That's what I think as well.
Beautiful.
Well, Angela says all 3. There could be more. I mean, if there's a significant change, maybe it's just something to ask. Right.
I love these answers. I tend to gear towards he's setting boundaries because he finally realized 7 o'clock is dinner time and my wife or my family or my significant other, my friend or whatever is cooking a delicious meal, I'm going to set my boundaries. So I like to think that's what it is, but I agree. It could be all the above. Scenario number 2, Maria used to participate in meetings, offer ideas, volunteer. Over the last 6 months, she's become very quiet and only does exactly what she's assigned. What do you guys think? Are they quietly quitting?
Lisa says quiet quitting. Jacqueline, something to investigate.
Okay. I think if I was the leader or a teammate of this person, I would definitely look into it. It's something to investigate. Okay. We're going to get back to this in a little bit, but we're all humans. We're not robots. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in our lives. There's a lot of phases in our lives. Some become empty nesters. Some are going through caregiving responsibility. Some are having new babies that are in NICU. So let's come back to this, but it's definitely something to look into. Okay. It could just be that it is work related, or maybe that it's actually personal. So, and then scenario 3 is David has started leaving exactly at 5 o'clock every day. What do you guys think of that? Thoughts?
Something to investigate, boundary. Thanks, Jacqueline.
All right. So here's the key, because all of those answers are right? But the key isn't exactly just the behavior. It's the change of behavior. Okay. So as a leader, as a team member, if you see that somebody used to participate a lot before and now all of a sudden they're not, start looking into it. Start asking the questions. What has changed? Okay. So not necessarily what's wrong with the employee. Why aren't they doing this? It's more like what has changed with them, with their life, with their work. That's really what it comes down to. Okay. This probably picture resonates with everybody. As in high school and kindergarten, we all raised our hands and we all thought, oh yes, answer, pick on me. And what happens as we grow older, sometimes it's like we lose interest because every time we raise our hand, they didn't look at us. Every time we raise our hand, they didn't listen to us. Okay. So, I want us to think of our team as giving everybody the opportunity to speak up. It doesn't mean that one person is the only person that needs to speak up. Okay. So this list here says things that they might say. Okay. Really, is this mandatory? Do I have to work 5 minutes extra on a Friday because it's end of month and I need to hit quota? Is this really mandatory? That's really not in my job description. Like all of a sudden they start saying this stuff. Cameras mystery doesn't work anymore. I agree with whatever everyone else says. I used to volunteer. Now I just don't want to volunteer. Okay. Leaves exactly at 6, whatever works. So again, all of this, don't go firing them and say, hey, we got issues. You're not performing. Okay. Investigate. Okay. So again, kind of a little bit of a repeat, but this, Matt's going to go ahead and share this with you guys. Hopefully you think about this, but these are some of the warning signs that managers miss. They start speaking up. They no longer volunteer. Their work is just good enough. They're not underperforming. They're just not going out of their way to do a better job, right? They pull away socially. Enthusiasm disappears. They have more absences than they did before, and they stop seeking growth. They just kind of, we're in a world where the next generation of young 20-plus-year-old are coming into the workforce. It is something, and we're going to go through this in a little bit, but they're going to bring this, they're going to challenge us on a lot of this. I think there's a generation that just said, if you have a job, you're lucky, and go to work and just do your job. But I think the world is changing. And if we're not listening to our people, we're going to lose them very quickly. Okay. Let me go back to number 4. Okay. More absences. Which kind of good, think of that, of more absences. Okay. And I want you to think of this story as we're talking about more absences. So this story, James has always been an overperformer. They just go out of their way, always doing, they're always stepping in for when somebody, has had an autistic child that they have had to miss a lot of time for. Somebody who just out of the blue no-shows and they have to pick up the slack. So this person has gone above and beyond every single time. So this has been a pattern, okay, for like, let's say 6 months, okay? And his manager's constantly praising him. You do such a good job. I'm going to give you more responsibilities. And it gets to the point where James is like, honestly, I'm doing my job and half of someone else's job, okay? So I want to go back to something that is a little bit of a heartburn for me in the world of HR. And it sounds like most of you are in HR, so you'll get this. And if not, you'll probably sometime in your lifetime get this. So I went to, and this is one thing I took away from one of the legal seminars I went to that I'm like, just that alone was worth it. Guys, this is a controversial thing I'm going to tell you. Think about this, okay? We all lead with empathy. In the world that we live in, we need to lead with empathy, okay? But empathy has a boundary in the corporate world, okay? So this attorney told me, in the corporate world, no good deed goes unpunished. Think about that. How many of you guys like that? How many of you guys are like, come on, please give me answers. I want to hear this. So again, I'm going to repeat it. In the corporate world, no good deed goes unpunished. I'm just going to stop and give you guys a minute to say, what? Oh, that makes sense. I don't agree with that. Give me some answers. Come on, guys, please.
I mean, there's always a reaction for every action. So you do something or you don't do something, there's a consequence of some sort.
So let me take it back to, since no one's answering me, because either you're not listening to me or you're like, I don't know what to think. This is a weird one.
Lisa says, unfortunately true in a lot of cases.
Okay, give me an example, Lisa.
So could this be something like you do something good and someone's like, why are you going above and beyond? What are you trying to do?
Okay, so let me give you an example.
Oh, exactly this situation on the slide is what Lisa said.
James's situation?
Yeah, so like you do something good and then you have more work. Oh, looks like Jacqueline was saying something.
You can finish your thought and then I'll go.
Oh yeah, I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay, so it's interesting because I've always seen it in a different perspective, like in HR of like, oh, I'm going to be lenient with this person. And then, they keep kind of taking advantage. And then you're in this bigger mess because it's like, oh, I was lenient with this person so much, but now I have a bigger mess and it's like spread to other people. I haven't thought of it in the other situation of, I'm just jumping in, I'm helping, but then you keep getting things piled onto your plate. So it's been interesting seeing it from that side on this slide.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jacqueline. That's absolutely true. I unfortunately have seen it way more than I'd like to see where, a leader is being compassionate. Say, one of their employees has cancer. They've been an extremely high performer, right? And all of a sudden they have to go to appointments and all of a sudden they simply cannot do the job. And one of the things I'd love for HR professionals to tell their leaders is get us involved as soon as possible, because nobody can be their own mechanic, their own doctor, their own dentist. They're bringing the experts so you don't have to deal with it, okay? So I don't want to get into too much of that. That's a whole other topic, but it goes back to James. The leader has gone in empathetically, let's say, because somebody or two people in the team are having issues. And instead of handling that, they're doing it on their own. They're giving more work to extra people, trying to be lenient and compassionate to the few employees that are going through something. When in reality, what they should do is get, help. Tell that person, okay, we're going to accommodate you, go to HR, but in the meantime, hire somebody to do their work short term. Like figure out solutions so you're not just burning James out with extra work. Okay. So again, it goes back to a little bit of a leadership and checking in with your employees when you see that they're a little bit disengaged. Okay. I want you to ask these questions. What changed? When you talk to them, when you see something's happening, okay, ask these questions. What's changed? Is there something getting in the way of you doing your best work? Do you feel like your work is valued? Is there anything you need from me that you're not getting? Here's one of my favorites is, if you were in my position, what would you change? Sometimes they'll tell you things like, you might see it from another. It's hard to take feedback sometimes because nobody likes to hear that. But I think the best way to improve is to ask for feedback. If you were in my position, what would you change? Okay. This is why employees really leave. They don't feel this one. Think about the 20 plus age that is entering the workforce. More than ever before, these things they're going to be looking for, and they're going to be job hopping. Okay. Appreciated, development, heard, supported, and connection. Connection is a huge one for this generation coming in. It's huge for all of us. Okay. My daughter was working from home for a good probably 6 years of her career. She's 26. She liked it. She thought she liked it. She was not a happy person because all of her friends were just her gym friends that go at 4 a.m. in the morning. And that was it. That was her life. And then it was Instagram and working. And I kept telling her, you need to go into the corporate world. You need to meet people from different generations, all ages, because that's the age you're in. Anyways, she started working at Goldman Sachs. They mandated that she goes into the office. She hated it at first, but guys, I'm telling you, she absolutely loves it. So don't take this last one, connection, for granted, because if people don't feel connected to their work, they're going to leave. And it doesn't mean that you have to like have all these social events, or whatever, but the connection, whatever you can do to make sure they're feeling connected to the team is crucial. Okay. So I want to call it stay interviews. So instead of doing exit interviews, let's start doing stay interviews with your employees. Okay. What do you most enjoy? What is becoming frustrating? I mean, ask these questions. If another company called you tomorrow, what would tempt you to listen? Like, you really have to gauge your employees and like, where's their head? Is it money? Because a lot of times I've seen people do exit interviews and then the manager finds out and goes and offers them, I don't know, 50% more increase. I'm just throwing that out there. It usually doesn't happen. But what happens? Sometimes the employee takes it. Sometimes they don't take it. But the employee that takes it, I hate to say it, more times than not, they've already disengaged. So their performance isn't there. So pay is not everything. People don't stay at jobs because of pay. Now, if they're underpaid and overworked, they will leave. But people don't normally start looking for other employment because of pay. It's usually because they don't feel appreciated or heard in the job. Okay. So again, kind of a little bit of a repeat, but I want you to notice, ask, act, and follow up. Okay. And then what she did in this case, the manager for James, she stopped rewarding silent over. This is James that was overworked. She found out that he's doing 40% of the work. Sometimes you find out that one employee is doing 80% of the work and the 20% are not doing it. So look into all of that. Reset priorities, hold other people accountable. And if you can do that, James will probably stay. Okay. And before you start blaming the employee, ask yourself, have I given a meaningful feedback? Have I recognized their contributions? Have I explained the why? Why is your job important? People like to hear that. Give them opportunities, ask them what they need, and really at the end of the day, create a safe environment for them to be able to talk to you. You're never going to have them be your best friends, nor should you, because I don't think that is helpful in any way, but you have to be a safe zone for them. They need to know that their leaders are advocating for them. Their leaders know where their career aspirations are, and they're going to have their back. When they see opportunities that they're not seeing, they could throw your name out. Oh, so-and-so is available to do this. Okay, so be that ally for them. And this is the last slide, and this is a checklist for you guys. It's kind of an assignment for you to go back, because I strongly believe that if you don't practice at least for like the next week, you're going to forget everything. You're going to be like, yeah, that was kind of a waste of time. But I want you to take, if you have people reporting to you, I want you to focus on each employee this month. Some people have 100 people reporting to them. That is not a good idea. Matt knows this. We've been through this together. If you have too many people reporting to you and you can't feel their pulse, delegate people down. Have leaders, middle levels that can do this for you. If you're not a strong people manager, find somebody who has the soft skills that you don't have. We're not all the same people. Complement your people and your team with people that will complement each other. Okay. So focus on each employee, or, if you don't have anyone reporting to you, focus on your teammates. Okay. Find out what their career goals are. Have a meaningful one-on-one weekly meeting. Again, if you can't do weekly meetings, you have too many people reporting to you. Okay. Weekly may be too much, but I'm just throwing it out there. I meet with Amy, my manager, weekly, and I love it. If I don't meet with her, I'm lost. That's just me. Okay. And then find out what barriers there you can remove for them. Sorry, that's a typo. At least we know it was in ChatGPT. And then ask for feedback on your management style. Okay. Always be open to feedback. So that is what I have for you. Tell me what questions you have for me. What can I help answer?
Well, everybody's thinking about your questions. Feel free to unmute or put them in chat. I had a couple things, Afi, a couple questions. First of all, this is amazing. And I'm so glad that you joined us today, because you do have that approach to feeling out the needs of people. Like you mentioned, sometimes it's something professional that is a root of disengagement. And other times there's something personal going on in someone's life. And it's not like we need to be their therapist or their solution, but showing some empathy to show that you understand and recognize that something changed, and to be able to be supportive is a big deal. I loved those questions you shared. I had one that I would add to identify like what's going on, and that's what else. So like after you've been talking for a while, sometimes, and I've done this myself, of like, okay, I've said all the answers they expect me to say, but the one thing that is really on my mind, I don't really want to say it. And then they ask, what else? It's like,
I love that.
That's the only thing left. I guess I'll say it. It's
that's so true. That is so true. I love that. It can help you
kind of get to the root, but those are really good discovery questions, and just caring for people, like people want to feel like someone cares for them.
I agree. Anyone else?
What else?
Any thoughts about the attorney comment? I'm really curious here, guys.
I think like what, let's see, Lisa said, speaking from experience, that exactly the situation on that slide of like, you do a good job and then you just have to end up doing everybody else's work. So yeah, you're right. You don't want to burn out your most willing people who are willing to go above and beyond. Oh, and Lisa, for stay interviews, how do you determine the timing on when those should happen? Do you do them on a cadence?
I think it's, if you make practice of meeting with them weekly, that's good. If you notice a change, like they're missing a lot of time, I think you do it as needed immediately. I think you have to assess the situation and look for the changes. But I think if you meet with them weekly, you'll be able to assess that. And when you meet with them, I think one of the things that is important is to just say, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Just start with that. Like we have a list. I have a list we're going to go through, but how are you doing? And you'd be surprised what they tell you. You know, sometimes I'm not on my game. I look crazy, and my wonderful manager says, Afi, how you doing? And it's like, oh, thank you for asking. She's not my therapist by any means, but just that like human side, like you have this list, we're going to go through it, but let me tell you, I'm not in the right headspace, but let's talk. Does that make sense? So I don't know if that answered your question, whomever asked that question, but yeah.
Yeah, from Lisa. Yeah, that was a really good one.
Good. And one last thing I want to say, I don't know, I'm pretty much out of time, but back to the comment of no good deed goes unpunished. I consulted with a company that they had a whistleblower that said that their HR recruiting practices were not compliant. They were biased for men of certain religion background. So they had brought in consultants, and one of the things that they did is they wanted every single role, whether entry level production up to, you know, senior VP and leaders, to go through a set of 5 interviews, 15-minute each, with 3 people present at each interview. Think about the bizarreness of that. But that was a remedy. So I was brought in to kind of be one of those interviewees. And the reason I'm sharing the story with you is because sometimes I would be like, this person's name is Jennifer. And I've had an issue with Jennifer's, right? Like, I'm kidding. But there was something inside of me that was like, something isn't clicking. And then I kept thinking, am I just being personal? I don't like this person because their name is Jennifer. Does that make sense? But at the end of the interviews, 98% of the time, every single one of us had that same gut feeling. So think about that. So it wasn't just me thinking I'm being biased because, you know, the gut feeling that told me she's not the right person was what most people were feeling. So trust your gut sometimes. Don't think, oh, I'm just being unempathetic. I'm just, it's just me. No, trust your gut. Trust your gut.
Well, that's very powerful and a great item to end on. Thanks to everyone for joining. And just as we kind of wrap up here, want to say a huge thank you to Afi for sharing your expertise. And I learned some great things here. I think my biggest takeaway was to make sure to not neglect, you know, the personal aspect of really caring and having connection with your team members. And for HR, it's kind of like for your team, but also, you know, showcasing this to people managers and supporting the people managers in doing this. So it's kind of a 2-pronged thing that's important. But yeah, thank you everyone for being here today. Just before we wrap up, wanted to give you a quick preview on the next meeting or the next training next month. I'll just share my screen super fast so you guys can see this. And we will get the slides shared out that Afi shared with us. So watch for the follow-up email that has the activity, the SHRM activity code by the end of the week, and the slides and the recording. And next month, same time, second Wednesday of the month, we'll be meeting. We've got another great event with Kim Wilkes. Let me just pull this up. Sorry. Apparently I'm not very good at talking and scrolling at the same time here. So the next month event is Kim Wilkes. She is currently in a customer marketing lead, but she's been in employer branding on the HR side. And so she's actually going to be talking about building advocacy for your organization, both from an employer lens or like an employee lens and a customer lens, and how they kind of mesh together. So that'll be a pretty exciting event. And to everyone, if you have any interest in learning about Mobrium, we help with your online ratings and reviews on sites like Glassdoor and Indeed, which ends up influencing how your company shows up in AI. So we can help you with a free audit if you'd like to see where your company is and how your employer reputation health is, just message me. You can email right here or check out the website, and we'd be happy to do that for you. So, Afi, any last thoughts as we're closing up here?
No, I appreciate you. Thank you all for your time. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I would love it. So feel free to do so. But no, I appreciate it. Thank you, Matt, for getting me outside of my shell. Like I said, I've never done a webinar, so this was new to me. So thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And we'll put a link to Afi's LinkedIn so you can connect with her in the follow-up meeting as well. So thanks, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.